contrasting tones of our body when we are connected is really quite beautiful. I love looking into his green eyes. This is when I feel most connected to him. Hello and welcome back to another episode of On Being with Wilfred. In today's episode, I'm going to open up about my relationship with my partner of the last 2 years. So, I met Felix 2 years ago. I had just arrived in Paris, and within a couple of months, our paths crossed. When I first arrived, I was not looking for love. Falling in love with him was definitely inconvenient. And I say that meaning that I wish I would have had more for myself in the beginning. But the truth is, that was not the case. I was still very much a tourist in this country. I had no comprehension of the French language, the French culture, and I didn't have a steady job, a steady place to live. So when we found each other, I felt like I had to be more than myself. He was definitely comfortable with his life. He enjoyed his job and had a good group of friends who have been here for the last 10, 15 years. And I had nothing. He was my everything. When I met him, I actually didn't know that he was French. We spoke in English, actually not too far from where we're living right now. I can distinctly remember his blue hoodie. He had a blue hoodie, and I want to say his hair was disheveled. He later told me that he was coming back from the gym, and I saw him look at me. I have flirtatious glance, and I like to see who and what is interested around me. This is a game of curiosity that I have enjoyed playing. It's like a tennis game or ping pong in which the receiver is giving you back what they have available. And in this case, he had his attention available, and he reciprocated by giving his attention to me. I did the same. And after exchanging a few glances, we decided to come a bit closer. He was on the end of the street. I was departing the opposite direction. And when our eyes locked, and locked again and again, we decided that we would exchange numbers. So we met in the middle of the street, and I remember his soft, sweet voice, a little hey. And I remember thinking, his voice is so delicate. Even now thinking about it, it was really sweet to hear someone be so gentle. Paris is a huge city, and you need a thick skin in order to survive the many different people that it attracts. And to have someone who chooses to live in a city like this one, that has so many options, so much bustle and movement, to have someone be as soft-spoken and kind was really shocking to me. In fact, this is what attracted me most about him. I have a soft spot for people who are soft and sweet. And I think it probably goes back to my upbringing. Just ending things with a soft touch breaks down to my walls. I have such respect for someone who chooses to live in this way. So I knew immediately that he was different, and I was curious about where it could lead. So that was day one. I want to address a few things about being in an intercultural and interracial relationship that have been brought to my attention over the last 2 years that Felix and I have been together. The first thing is discovering our love language. In American culture, the 4 love languages are coffee table talk. It's something that everyone knows, at least in my circle, which tells you a little bit about me. I'm spilling about my feelings, my thoughts and ideas about emotions and how to love someone. I think this is very American, this this overly emotional or willingness to be vulnerable is very American. Now, for French men, and specifically my French man, talking about feelings, talking about vulnerability, this is not something that is culturally normal. If you are oversharing too much, you are going to kind of be put to the side and ostracized. In fact, I thought this was the biggest disconnect from him and I. Being such a soft and sweet person, I thought the extraction process for who he truly was going to be so simple. I was in for a rude awakening. The truth of the matter is, I have a soft outside but a hard inside. And I think for him, it's the other way around. And I have found that's the case for many Parisians. I think in American culture, you wear a smile and then inside you kind of figure out what that smile means. Especially American culture in the South and Southwest, this is called putting your best foot forward. And it is a veneer smile because there's something deeper inside, but you don't reveal that until later on. But for French culture, it's the exact opposite. You take whatever it is, whatever's present is there, it's what you have, and then later on you have to dig and dig. And that's where the truth of someone's warmth and kindness resides, after you get to know someone and establish a relationship with them. So I'm going to break down what that means exactly for my relationship with Felix and I. I'm a Black American. He is an Anglo-European Frenchman. Adhering to the French norms, he was courteous, but there was a level of secrecy that I didn't quite understand about him. This comes with protecting himself. I didn't know how long I was going to be in France. He didn't know how long I was going to be in France. And even though we danced around the topic, neither one of us was willing to address the elephant in the room. The truth of the matter is, I had no plan for staying in France as long as I have. And because I didn't communicate that with him explicitly, it left some gray area in our relationship. I started talking about love languages, and now I'm going into how our relationship got complicated. All kind of ties together. It's all about communication. If you are falling in love overseas, there are a few things that you need to do to protect yourself. Number one being taking care of your paperwork. It is never sexy to rely on someone else to have to help you out of your situation. Now, love happens. Love is beautiful. But if you, in your own autonomy, don't have a leg to stand on, it's going to make you overly dependent on your partner. And being overly dependent on them in the beginning of the relationship leaves you vulnerable to being taken advantage of or being misunderstood. Within the realm of love language and communication, these are 3 simple questions that you can ask your partner, whether you are living abroad, living together, in an intercultural relationship, in an interracial relationship, just some common ground in order to be on the same playing field. And I feel like these are questions every couple has to address eventually. It just never seemed like the right time in the beginning. We were still getting to know each other, going on dates, and I just didn't know where it would lead. What do we want out of this relationship? You have to be honest with your partner about that. Number 2, it's the most common question. It's a cliche, but it's so necessary. What are we? Are we exclusive? Are we open? Do you want to be with me? Do you see me in your future? Number 3, where do we go from here? You have to plan these things together. And if your partner isn't willing or ready to talk about these things, then I want to say walk away with all of my heart. I cannot say that, and I would not follow that advice. You have to be realistic enough with your expectations to acknowledge reality for what it is. If this person who you have fallen in love with is not ready for commitment, it's going to be heartbreak for you. That's inevitable. You can hope and wish that they will change and meet your standards. But the reality is they are who they are, and you are who you are. So you have to suck it up deal with the consequences, or know when to move on. Okay, so next, now that we've talked about communication, I'm going to talk a little bit about losing myself in the relationship. I think this this gradual buildup was bound to happen, but because our communication was strained, lack of honesty, cultural understanding, we speak different languages. Felix's first language is French. My first language is English. There was already an uneven playing field from the beginning. So losing myself happened by trying to overcompensate. I wanted to overcompensate with my time and attention. As I mentioned earlier, Felix was everything to me. I had absolutely nothing in this country, so I devoted my time and energy to him. I didn't really have a life outside of the relationship. I wanted the relationship to be this colorful and beautiful, all-encompassing, time-consuming investment, and it was. The only thing is, you can't do that. You can, but you will end up bankrupt if the other person is not giving to you what you are giving to them. You're going to end up bankrupt. And I have an anxious attachment style. I love being around my partner and having that sense that they care and they are going to be there for me. It took having my heart broken in order for me to realize that I needed to complete myself. I needed to see myself for who I am and as I am, and give myself permission to pursue the goals and aspirations in life that I desire. And this took so much time, and it's going to be in a different video, but losing myself happened when I moved to this country without a plan, made someone my world, and then having the inevitable happen. More on that later. This will be an on-being episode because I have so much to discuss about heartbreak and rebuilding yourself again. This is integral into my new identity, my fitness journey, and everything that I have transitioned and created outside of that dark time in my life. And I'm so looking forward to sharing that with you. If you are interested, please let me know, and I'd love to read your personal stories as well. I know I can talk about love for hours. So I'd love to share with you and hear what you have to say. Okay. The next topic I want to talk about is deciding whether or not to be in an open or exclusive relationship. Now, this is a topic I think that has become popular in the zeitgeist in the 21st century. This was not something I heard growing up. But being in a city such as Paris, where there are millions of options, it is very important to discuss where you stand as a relationship. As a gay man, what are your values? What do you believe in? And what kind of future do you want for yourself, for your family, and for the couple? The couple is a living, breathing entity, and it is continuing to evolve as much as you're investing into it. I feel like we have discussed so much today in today's episode, and I'm so happy about that, because each episode I feel like I'm getting more comfortable with talking with you and also sharing my own personal lessons and experiences that I've had, and it's really fun. I'm really enjoying getting a chance to know you and to meet some of you, message some of you as well. The very last thing I want to talk about today is being in an interracial, intercultural relationship. I've discussed being American. I mentioned my partner is French, but I have not addressed what that means for us living in Paris. I think we are a cute couple, and anytime I see a multiracial couple, whether it's in the streets of Paris or on TV and a billboard, it makes me feel life is expanding. I love seeing cute couples, whether they are the same race, different races, same genders, different genders. I love seeing love. This is only multiplied by my own love that I feel for my partner. Being interracial in Paris feels relatively new. In the US, the Black population has integrated in every conversation within national America, within politics, within sports, entertainment. Black culture is influencing and being celebrated on so many different aspects of society. And I feel this is still relatively new in France. To be French and to have the word French nationality, French identity be associated with a multicultural identity is relatively new. And I think that is because the relinquishing of different territories. This happened relatively recently, and it feels like it's this integration into French society is slow, just as France and French culture is slow to change. There are so many things that feel just as they were. And sometimes that's great. There is an admiration or an awe for things that are different or outside of French society. And I think that is contrasted with American society. In American society, it's very pushed in your face that different is different, and this is what it looks like. In French society, it feels more... In American society, it is very much promoted and forcefully integrated into every space. And it's a different approach here. And I think it's because the French population are slow to change. And with that speed, that cadence, there is a greater appreciation for things that are different. I think sometimes it takes people a little longer to digest change. And if you are not forcing someone to move at the speed of light, as you are in American culture, then you're giving people a chance to digest their truth in their way. And I am seeing that in French society. It feels a lot more nuanced to be in an interracial relationship in this society than it would be in American society. That was a lot to unpack, and I'm so happy that this was the next episode for today. I'm about to get ready for dinner tonight. I'm going to see my partner on a little date that we're having, a group date. So I think it's going to be really fun. I can't wait to see you tomorrow for our next daily video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I can't wait to see you next time.